A check of the lineup says tip-off is just moments away. Thomas, Ewing, and Johnson up front for the Knicks. Johnson has had some good games against the Heat this year, better than his general performance over the course of the season. The same can be said of Allen Houston, who joins Charlie Ward in the backcourt. Jeff Van Gundy in his 4th year as the Knicks head coach. In each of the first 3, they've gone out of the playoffs in the 2nd round. Without Bashan Leonard, Jamal Mashburn, and Terry Mills for good portions of the season, nonetheless, Pat Riley's team secured the #1 seed in the East. And a look at his starting 5. Marley, despite being banged up almost constantly, bad back, bad finger right now, is an important defensive stopper for them on the perimeter.
Bob, I think when you think of a game of this magnitude, there's going to be about 5 minutes of nervous energy about these two teams. Then there'll be 43 minutes of execution. Who will win the battle of the execution? Because both of these teams are so evenly matched.
And the tip to New York, but Thomas immediately has it wrested away by Hardaway. Jamal Mashburn to Marley, and now Mourning. First shot of the series is good for Alonzo.
See, Alonzo realizes that Kurt Thomas cannot block his shot. Ewing, when he's right, can. So all he has to do is turn and face and shoot the ball.
Good pass inside to Ewing from Ward. Ward's assists have been down and his turnovers up this year. Sharp pass that time on the Knicks' first possession. Mourning again. And the rebound to Ewing. Mourning was guarded by Thomas. Ewing spinning and scoring.
Great start by Patrick Ewing, and again it goes back to what Ahmad said. He is the heart and soul of this team and will dictate their success.
Hardaway's pass finds Mourning, who banks it home, and he's hit 2 of 3.
You can see the philosophy of both of these coaches, Bob. Go big early, get them involved, keep them involved.
Larry Johnson just holding it. Now puts it on the floor against Mashburn. Slings it back outside for Ward, and Ward hits the 3. So Ward has started crisply.
See, Larry Johnson, Jeff Van Gundy loves him because he said he's one of the guys who really looks to pass and create shots. That time he gets a 3 for Ward.
Knicks lead at 7-4. Mashburn swatted away. Johnson in a crowd with a nice pass to Thomas, and Thomas converts, and the Knicks go up 5.
Well, so much for these two teams really being anxious to start this. This is tremendous execution. Both these teams, excellent defensive teams, but getting any shot they want right now just with great passing.
Thomas on Mashburn. Jumper over him. Mashburn, once a 24-point-a-game scorer with Dallas, averages around 15 for Riley's Heat.
Well, he liked the mismatch there. Mashburn with the quickness, and Kurt Thomas had to back off of him, and he was able to bury that little jumper.
Marley guarding Houston. Jumper baseline over him is good.
See, Allen feels very comfortable against Marley. He feels like he can rise up over the top of him where he can beat him with quickness.
Alonzo backing in on Thomas. Now finding Hardaway, who juggles it. Regains and misses. Thomas chases it down. The Knicks, not an especially good shooting team over the past few years, have hit their first 5 shots of the playoffs. Can Thomas make it 6? He cannot. The rebound to Marley. Mourning on the drive, then dishes it out to P.J. Brown, and now Mashburn, who misses the 3. Ewing straight away. Hardaway back for Miami. P.J. Brown. Flat-footed rebound to Larry Johnson. And the game's first whistle. The officials are Ronnie Garrettson, Joe DeRosa, and Steve Javie.
Bobby, talk about the great shooting start by New York. Remember the last game they played in here, they finished up shooting 11 for 14 in the fourth quarter, made all 11 free throws. I think that really vaulted them into the playoff situation. They fed off that game and finished strong.
They won 6 of their last 8 to secure the 8th and final seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Kurt Thomas. At TCU, Thomas led the nation in both scoring and rebounding. He's just an 8-point-a-game scorer for New York.
See, I think they have to make Larry Johnson look for some shots. If they're going to help back on him, he's going to create a lot of open opportunities. He got an open J that time for Kurt Thomas and an open 3, so his passing has led to 5 points.
7:23 to play in the first. Good start for New York. Prior to this year, Patrick Ewing had never averaged less than 20 points a game in the NBA. This year, he scored at a 17.3 clip. Missed a number of games with injuries, the most important, the Achilles injury.
Well, he's gotten off to a great start here. He's warmed up. He's involved in the game early. They run the first 2 plays for him, a dunk and the little finger roll. And then he makes his presence felt on the other end with a blocked shot. So Patrick off to a very good start. And Bob, you know, in a 5-game series, if Patrick would struggle physically in the second game, if you'd have to play him 45 minutes and get a win today and then rest him a game, it would be vital to get this win if you could steal game 1.
No back-to-back games, but every other day in this first round of the playoffs. Marley up top. Now P.J. Brown on the wing. And Mourning, this time down the floor, guarded by Ewing. Bumps off him, and there's a whistle after the contact for a foul. Allen Houston is the guilty party. That's his first.
Now, with big guys who like to wheel in the middle, Bob, the worst thing you can do is reach in, because normally that ball is moving around and you're going to hit them on the arm. What you have to do is go body into them and make them make contact with you. The little reach in foul here by Allen Houston, 2 free throws.
Mourning removing the goggles to shoot the free throws. He had a damaged right eye socket, which is why he's gone to the goggles, Kareem or Moses Malone style.
I'm surprised more big guys don't get poked in the eye. You think of all the activity and you see the center matchup and what Mourning has done against the opposing center starters this year. Look at that, Bob. I mean, he's dominated them in every phase. But not against Patrick Ewing in the 2 games they've gone head-to-head. Well, you know, I've seen that a lot, though, Bob, and we talked a little bit about our opening. When you have such great reverence for a player as Alonzo does, which is a wonderful thing, you got to try to put that aside, because Patrick is his big brother, and he's dominated him the first couple seasons they've had in playoffs. Is Mourning the MVP this year? He is, in my estimation, because of what he's done for his team with their injuries. They're the #1 seed. Now, is he the best player? No. But is he the most valuable player? Yes. Ewing working against him, and Mourning, who led the league in blocks, knocks that one away. And most importantly, retains possession of it. That's the old Bill Russell thing. If you're going to block a shot, keep it in play, give your team a possession. Hardaway, cross court to the open Marley. The 3 spins out, but Mourning is there. Second try won't drop, but back comes New York. Johnson misses the reverse. Brown running the floor, and he's pushed from behind needlessly by Thomas, who couldn't stop him, and now there's a chance for a 3-point play. Major advantage for Miami is their big guy's ability to run, and they put the pressure to force a big guy to get back. If a big guy doesn't, then a smaller player has to take him. That time, P.J. Brown running the floor, and he gets the layup and the 3-point play opportunity. But when I talked to Jeff Van Gundy, he said, my biggest concern is their big men running, which triggers 3-point shots or layups. Brown misses the free throw. Knicks by 3. Ewing from Thomas. Patrick Ewing now with half a dozen.
He's hit 3 of 5 in the early going. Mourning trying to answer, and Ewing gets a piece of that. A whistle as they come out of the backcourt, and a Miami foul.
If Alonso is going to be effective in the post, he's not a back-to-the-basket player, Bob. He faces you and uses quickness. Twice now he's got down here, and both times gotten himself in trouble by trying to jackknife a shot, and Ewing's got a piece of both of them.
Ewing's second block. At the other end, Hardaway's first foul. Ewing up in a crowd, and Mourning got a piece of that. Here comes Hardaway on the move. That's Hardaway's first basket. He concedes that some of his game, the quickness, the crossover dribble, is compromised by the knee injury. But he's so dangerous, especially late in close games. Houston.
Now, when I talked to Jeff Van Gundy yesterday, he said, I'm going to give Allen opportunities to play one-on-one, but from the top, not from the wing. That gives him more space. You saw it right there in that possession. Very confident play.
Mourning missed the long jumper. Knicks come back trying to add to a 5-point lead. And they do. Houston.
What a pass by Charlie Ward. Bobby just threaded the needle right down the lane, and you'd have to be very happy right now if you're Jeff Van Gundy. His team's got off to a wonderful start here.
Ward under fire in New York for his generally poor play during the season. Starts the playoffs in good shape, but it's early. P.J. Brown may have been on the end line as he tried to chase the rebound down, and he was.
Block shots normally come off the ball, and Zoe has 2 of them in this game. That triggers the running game. You see Hardaway, he's not doing it with speed. He's using his eyes, weaving his way, finds the open area, and gets the score.
Larry Johnson out, Latrell Sprewell in. Kurt Thomas in the lane. And the rebound bounces to Hardaway. Hardaway pulls up for 3, but it's blocked from behind. Now Ward at the other end, and Hardaway retreats to poke it away and steal it. Mourning screening for Hardaway. Gets it back from him. Now outside to Mashburn. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Marley for 3. Mourning to follow. Goaltending is called.
Bob, when we talked to both coaches yesterday, that one thing they said to us is we got to get extra possessions. An offensive rebound is an extra possession. You miss it as the clock is going down, you get it back, and you get a score. Those are the things that will dictate this series.
Sprewell trying to get it to Thomas, and they lose it on the turnover. Just what you were talking about. Here's Hardaway to the hoop. And Ewing comes away with it. Houston. Allen Houston makes it 21-14 New York.
He loves playing Miami. His numbers this year against Miami are better than basically any team he plays. He just has a great confidence level.
He scored 8. Hardaway on the drive misses, but Marley clears it.
They will not double him early. They will late. So Hardaway is going to be able to back down and get his shot.
Here it is in the lane, but it won't go for him. Sprewell. Out top to Ward, and they'll set it up. And New York asks for time with 2:32 to play in the first. They lead it 21-14. Whether Patrick Ewing, who'll be 37 in August and who has been compromised this year by injuries, can do this game in, game out, we don't know yet. But he's playing like a warrior in this first period of the first game of the playoffs. Here's what he said yesterday about his play at this stage of his career.
I can't worry about what the media or the fans or management or anybody thinks about me. As long as I still believe in myself and I know that I can play this game at a high level, I can still do the things. To me, I'm better now than I was when I first came in the league. Granted, I was more athletic, but I'm still, I think I'm a better player. But the other stuff, I can't worry about it.
As we come back live, Sprewell misses his first shot. Ewing tries to follow, and it won't drop for him. Marcus Camby is on the floor for the first time for New York. Terry Porter making his first appearance off Riley's bench in the Heat backcourt. This is Porter. Missing the three. Camby comes away with the rebound.
Miami 0 for 7 now from the three-point line.
Camby on the move and a whistle. Marley's on the deck, but the foul is on him.
Bob, just to talk a little bit about Patrick Ewing, what he said, I think as a player gets older, the game slows down, you don't waste energy. I think that's what Patrick was talking about. His game has to change because he can't do the same things. That doesn't mean he can't be effective, and that's what he's going through right now, that change.
Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. In years past, we had talked about Michael Jordan using all kinds of things to motivate himself. Well, I've been around Patrick Ewing quite a bit, and I think Patrick is using all these criticisms to motivate himself at this point to prove to everybody that he still is an effective player. Now, he also told me about this past summer that him and Alonzo got a chance to play against each other, and you can tell just talking to Patrick, he is not ready to give up this title of teacher in this teacher-pupil relationship with Alonzo. Alonzo, as Doug said earlier, will have to take it if it goes anywhere. Bob?
Thanks, Ahmad. 1 of 2 for Marcus Camby, who had trouble getting minutes earlier in the year. He had 22 on Wednesday on 11 of 15 shooting at Madison Square Garden against the Heat. Of course, not much was at stake in that game. Hardaway gets free but misses the jumper. Ewing is there for his 6th rebound of the first quarter. Allen Houston on fire in this opening period.
Well, 5 out of 5, and the thing about it is he has not just settled for the jump shot. He's driven the ball, he's played a little one-on-one, he's gotten to the basket, doing the whole thing rather than just the quick pull-up jumpers.
Hardaway delivers a pass for Mashburn, but first there's a whistle. Clarence Weatherspoon is in the game for the first time, replacing P.J. Brown on the front line for Miami.
Well, I think one of the things we have to watch, Bob, is the bench. Pat Riley has really shortened his bench. He's going to talk about Weatherspoon and Porter coming off the bench, a 7-man rotation, maybe an 8th guy of a Sean Leonard as a shooter or a Strickland. But I think the Knicks bench are going to play 4 guys, and that could be a factor in this 5-game series if it gets grueling.
New York by 10. If it's true that as Hardaway goes, so goes Miami. Check this out. Tim is 1 for 7, and he has 1 assist in this period.
Well, they're down 10, so I think it says something about that.
Mourning with the hook.
So, but Miami's philosophy, Bob, is 48 minutes. They don't get concerned at this point in time. They're down 8 or whatever. They want to grind you down in 48 minutes.
Mourning has 10 of Miami's 16 points. Johnson working on Mashburn. Fade away against him.
It's all working right now for New York. He has 3 assists. It's led to 7 points. He gets a score there in the low post. Everybody's involved right now for New York.
Last 30 seconds. Mourning with the fake around Ewing, and he takes it right to the hoop.
You know, in watching Ewing play, one of the things that he's really biting on is that up fake. I've seen him do it now in 3 or 4 games. He goes for the shot block and gets beat with the drive. Got to stay down.
Six seconds. Johnson with 2 seconds. Got to fire it. And that's the kind of period it's been for the Knicks. They hit 13 of 21 from the floor in this period. 62% in the game's first 12 minutes.
Larry Johnson has not played well at the end of the season, and Jeff Van Gundy said he's critical to us. Now, this is not the way he draws it up, but this is what he'll live with. If Larry Johnson can step out on the floor here and make these kind of shots, it's going to be a long day for the Miami Heat.
First quarter gone by in Miami. New York by 10. Folks, log on to MSNBCSports.com for a comprehensive playoff section called NBA Showtime Online. Isaiah Thomas will be there to talk about the playoffs at MSNBCSports.com. Today's date is May 8th. 29 years ago today, May 8th, 1970, it wasn't game 1 of the playoffs. It was game 7 of the finals when Willis Reed limped out onto the floor and the Knicks beat the Lakers at Madison Square Garden. Walt Frazier had a tremendous game that night, and the Knicks won the championship, the first of 2 in that decade. How much has the game changed? Even though the playoffs were delayed a little bit this year by the lockout, the first game on the same day as the last game was played in 1970. Here's Sprewell. His jumper isn't there. A battle for the rebound and a foul on Camby of New York.
That's okay. You can live with that kind of foul. Marcus Camby is an aggressive player. You want him going to the boards. The one thing you don't want to do is pick up little ticky-tack fouls that get the other team in the penalty too early. Now, Vashawn Leonard coming into the game right now. That'll put Terry Porter at the point guard. Vashawn Leonard coming off a broken leg. Did get some rhythm in the 4th game that these two teams played against each other the other night in Madison Square Garden. So he has been shooting the ball well. Let's see if he can give them a lift at that three-point line.
Porter guarded by Chris Childs, who starts the second quarter in the New York backcourt. Here's Mourning on the drive with the emphatic finish.
See, Camby cannot play Mourning. Doesn't have enough power. So that puts Ewing over. That's where Mourning can beat him with quickness.
Mourning keeping the Heat reasonably close. He's got 14 of their 20. That ball was kicked.
Face up, use quickness. Don't try to back Patrick down. And if Patrick right now is struggling anywhere, it's in his lateral quickness because of that Achilles. He just can't move his feet. Watch him. He's by him, and Patrick doesn't even react to it.
New York keeps it on the kick ball. Sprewell looking for some daylight, can't find it. Gives it up to Johnson. Mashburn's on him. Johnson hot at the end of the first. Gives it up to Camby. His turnaround is short. Terry Porter in his 14th year in the league at age 36. Out on the wing to Mashburn. Mashburn will drive it. And then find Leonard for 3. Mashburn chases the rebound down. Fresh 24 for Miami.
Bob, long shots mean long rebounds. The guards must rebound those long misses.
Mashburn, now Weatherspoon missed it very badly. Didn't draw iron. Childs backs away as they set it up. Larry Johnson backing in. His fadeaway. Air ball. And the loose ball is taken by Porter. Pushes it up 1-on-3, then circles back. Mashburn had the 3 if he wanted it. Takes it to the hole instead.
Bob, we talk about New York. We always talk about scoring droughts. They have to stay away from them. Right now, they're in one of those droughts. They have not scored in almost 3 minutes. Jeff Van Gundy takes a timeout. They got to talk about it.
It's a 6-point game now with 9:25 to play in the first half. This is the NBA on NBC.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, helping you play longer and stronger when it counts the most. Gatorade, is it in you? By Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. And by Adidas.
One of the things that Patrick is struggling with is his lateral movement. See where Patrick is right here. He should be up here where he can really get a bump on that guy as he comes off the screen. So Mashburn recognizes it, and then he turns the corner. And again, we see Patrick just struggling with that lateral movement, so they might try to get him more involved in those kind of plays as this game goes on.
As we mentioned on the pregame show, most 1-8 matchups are just a simple, dust them off for the #1 seed. Not in this case. In fact, a lot of people in New York felt that although the Knicks are certainly underdogs here, they have a better chance against Miami than they would have had against the 2 seed Indiana had they finished 7. Ewing is on the bench now as play resumes. Here's Sprewell, and it drops for him.
See, Sprewell now is playing his 4th playoff game, only played in 3 playoff games when he was with Golden State, was swept by Phoenix. Kurt Thomas has not played in any, excuse me, he's played in 3, can be none, so they're 0 for 6, those 3 guys in the playoffs in their careers.
The ball is kicked by Childs. In fact, Sprewell, in his 7th year in the league, hasn't seen the playoffs since 1994 when his Warriors, as you say, were swept by the Suns in 3. Charles Barkley dropped 56 on them in the final game. What was the score? 140 to 133. That's probably the combined score for 2 games in this series. Alonzo Mourning out high. Now Leonard lets it go. It would have been a 2 had it dropped. The rebound bounces out of bounds. The Knicks just let it go and they take possession.
Well, that was a great closeout that time by Sprewell. He chased Vashawn Leonard off the rhythm of his shot, made him take it tougher when they're 0 for 9 now from the 3-point line.
New York by 8. Camby. Tough shot. And the rebound is taken by Weatherspoon. Mashburn backing in, turning baseline, misses the bank, and Thomas has it.
Zoe's getting tired. Pat Riley's going to have to keep his eye on him, maybe give a little rest.
They scramble to the floor. Leonard reaching in along with Sprewell, and a jump ball is called.
Zoe is coming out, P.J. Brown, and what's happened now is with them struggling a little bit in the game, you've got Tim Hardaway is going to check in for Vashawn Leonard. So with Mourning going out, he's going to need Hardaway on the floor. He has to have one of those 2 guys out there.
Hardaway was going to check in, but the man he was about to replace is involved in the jump ball. Riley says of Mourning, his spirit is pure, and therein lies his greatness. That is both a way to praise him and to soften some of the criticism for his occasional lapses in judgment in previous years. After the Knicks win the tip, here's Childs. Pass goes astray, and back comes Miami after the turnover. Vashawn Leonard with the bounce to Weatherspoon. Weatherspoon inside with the left hand, misses. Tries to follow his own, and it's blocked over the back, but a foul. That's Marcus Camby's 2nd.
So again, New York is in one of those situations, Bob. They've scored 2 points in this quarter. We've played almost 5 minutes. The only thing that's keeping them in front right now is their defense has been very good, and Miami's probing, trying to find some offense.
Porter to Weatherspoon. Outside Mashburn. They made him change his shot, and as he dumped it off, nothing but blue shirts inside. Now a scramble in the lane, and another jump ball is called. Before they jump it up, Larry Johnson will have to get up. 6:58 to play in the half.
Bob, we talked to the coaches, and they talked about extra possessions, and when you look at it, Miami has 7 extra possessions here early in the game off these hustle stats. The problem is they're shooting such a poor percentage, they're not taking advantage of it. But look at the hustle. Both teams are down on the floor, going for loose balls. The turnover, you see Miami going down, picking it up. Here's the drive once again, forcing a jump ball situation. But again, the poor shooting has really hurt Miami, and that sort of lies where their weakness is. They go through those same periods as New York where they just can't put the ball in the basket.
We've played 5 minutes and 2 seconds in this quarter, and the score of the quarter is 4-2 Miami. They control the tip and come back, looking to cut into an 8-point deficit. Hardaway, Mashburn, Porter. Terry Porter lays it off to Weatherspoon, who has it shoved back in his face. Sprewell continued with the shot, even though it was interrupted, and managed to improvise the hoop.
Well, Allen Houston off to a great start. Now Sprewell coming off the bench, giving that same energy. So all things, again, going very, very well for New York right now.
Hardaway splits 2 defenders, then gives it up to Porter. Gets it back. It would have been a 2, but it's off the back iron. Childs trying to find Johnson, broken up by Hardaway, into the hands of Porter. Terry Porter finds P.J. Brown, who hits off the baseline.
See, Childs has got to use better judgment now, Bob. There's twice he's now driven in there, got a jump ball that they lose. That time is a turnover. Those things fuel Miami. P.J. Brown takes advantage of it with a little jump shot.
Sprewell's jumper increases the lead to 10. Sprewell's name already being kicked around in trade talk. Knicks might be looking to make a move for a point guard in the offseason. Tom Gugliotta's name also has come up. Here's Hardaway. The bank is closed for him, and Johnson corrals the rebound. But in the meantime, whether they keep him for next year or not, the Knicks need Sprewell to play well if they're to do anything in these playoffs.
Well, they need to give him that slashing energy, that cutting, that going to the basket that he's been doing here early in this game.
Kurt Thomas hits the rainbow.
Well, Kurt Thomas is hitting 18-footers. That puts a smile on your face. And we see Patrick Ewing on the bench, Bob. One of the things that's going to be important for Patrick is when Jeff Van Gundy does put him back into the game, he's got to get warmed up. Sometimes you stiffen up, and that's a problem. New York interior defense, excellent. Clarence Weatherspoon, an undersized power forward, actually got hit on the wrist there. That should have been a foul. And then it leads to this by Sprewell. Just a gorgeous play. Actually is wrapped up in the continuation. So he gives him a slashing basket. And then Kurt Thomas steps out on the floor. He squares it up, and he buries the jump shot.
This is the game's biggest lead. New York by 12.
Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll have the amazing story of the Suns' Danny Manning. 3 times he has come back from a torn anterior cruciate ligament, twice in his right knee and once in his left. Through all of the injuries, Manning has not been one to make excuses.
You're always going to have people that say, well, you know, before the injury or after injury. And the bottom line is I've blown my knee out 3 times. I'm never using it as an excuse, and I won't, you know, today. You know, I play with what I have. I do the best I can, and that's all I can do.
Peter Vesey has Manning's remarkable story. Manning and the Phoenix Suns meet the Portland Trail Blazers in the middle game of our triple header. In Game 1, the Knicks lead the Heat by 12 as we rejoin Bob, Doug, and Ahmad.
Hannah, thanks a lot. Entering this year's playoffs, there have been 31-8 matchups in previous postseasons. The number 1 seed has won 29 of those 30. Only in 1994, Patrick Ewing still on the bench, extended rest. Only in 94, when Denver, out of the 8th seed, upset the Sonics, number 1 in the West, has the 8 won it. Only 5 times has there been a 5th game. 17 of the 30 have been sweeps. Knicks lead by 12, however, at the outset of this one. But Mashburn cuts into it, drilling the 3, which gives him 7 points and slices the lead to 9.
Finally, a 3 for them. That's 1 for 9. The other one that Vashawn Leonard took was a 2, so 1 for 9 now.
Sprewell fires and hits.
Man, he's playing very, very confident right now as Patrick Ewing comes in. Patrick has got actually a 16-minute rest. Now, game time not that much, but set for really 16 minutes.
Mourning gets inside and finishes it. He scored 16 points, and without him, this game would be a blowout.
Well, we talked about Tim Hardaway, Bob, and he is struggling right now, and the Heat they need some better production from him.
Johnson wheeling into traffic and losing it. But it's poked away from behind, and Mashburn has it taken away. Here's Camby on the feed from Childs. Plus the foul against Mourning.
And more importantly, Marcus Camby going up there and powering it in over Alonzo Mourning. Really the only guy on their front line who can make this kind of spectacular play. Looked like that they had a chance to cut it to 7. The turnover. Now with the Thunder jam by Camby, you see him hang up as he comes down. He looks at Patrick Ewing. It gives his team an 11-point lead. Took it right at Alonzo Mourning.
And now finishes the three-point play. Here's Tim Hardaway. 1 for 9 from the floor so far. 2 points, 2 assists. Meanwhile, Houston and Sprewell are combined 9 for 11 on field goal attempts for New York.
Well, Bob, I felt as we see the illegal defense right now, I felt like coming into this series, Miami had a decided advantage if Mourning could dominate inside and Hardaway outside. That has not happened, and really what's happened is Allen Houston and Sprewell has dominated on the perimeter, and the guards for New York have done a good job in combination against Hardaway.
Marley back in for Miami. Houston returns to the floor for New York. Nice pass to Mourning from Mashburn. He slings it back outside to Marley. Marley on the drive, then Thunder Dan gives it up to P.J. Brown, who can't finish it. Sprewell wanted to pull up and take the jumper. It was slapped away, but they got a piece of him too. Hardaway's second.
Have you noticed also too, Bob, anytime New York can get early offense, they're trying to take advantage of it. Now, Childs had a couple turnovers, but they're really looking to score against Miami before they get their defense set in the half court.
Jeff Van Gundy early in the year was reluctant to have Houston and Sprewell on the floor at the same time. They're out there now. Tomorrow night on NBC, based on a true story, his daughter was murdered. Now a father won't rest until her killer is brought to justice. The Hunt for the Unicorn Killer tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on NBC.
Pat Riley now has taken Mashburn out as a small forward and come in Marley, so he's trying to match up with New York right now with Sprewell and Houston hurting them. Now he basically has Hardaway, Porter, and Marley in the game on the perimeter. Smaller perimeter team.
14-point New York lead. Sprewell with 10 points off the bench, all of them in this second quarter. Mourning with the bump and the shot, and it spills off. Ewing's pass finds Thomas, who can't find the hoop. P.J. Brown.
Bob, I got to get into my coach talk again. Finishing quarters, finishing halves. New York has dominated this half. They cannot allow Miami to make a little 6-8-0 spurt here to get themselves back.
Sprewell. It bounces off for him, and Mourning clears it. Hardaway had it knocked away. Here comes Sprewell. All the way. Had to change the shot and still hit it. Took it to the other side of the rim and scored and went down hard after the foul.
Now, how about this now? They've gotten 2 opportunities for three-point plays. You see Sprewell shaking up on the play, and Camby both over Alonzo Mourning, and 2 fouls on those plays. So not only do they not stop the play, but you see the strip right there, the great hands by Kurt Thomas, the frustration of Tim Hardaway, and the speed of Sprewell, all in combination there. He takes it to the other side, uses the basket and the rim as a shield. Mourning with the foul. Big play.
Mourning's second foul. Sprewell has now gathered himself. Completes the three-point play. He has 13 of New York's 18 points in this quarter. The Knicks are up by 15. Hardaway had it stripped by Childs. He finds Sprewell, who backs away. Allen Houston against Marley. The jumper increases the lead to 17.
Have you seen New York play better all season?
No.
This has been a tremendous performance. They are playing at the highest level of confidence I've seen them all year.
And in fact, their two best games, or at least portions of games, would be the last quarter and a half of the last game here during the regular season when they overcame a 20-point deficit, and the first half of this one, both against the Heat.
Well, Bob, matchups are so vital, and importantly with that, how you feel about playing certain teams. And again, Hardaway is stripped there by Childs, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to push it out and run. Allen Houston at the top of the floor, isolate, no screen, take it one-on-one. He pulls up and it's a tough shot. So Allen Houston and Sprewell have been great on the perimeter, and the defense of the Knicks has been terrific.
As you folks know, this is the first of 3 on NBC today. Coming up, a Western Conference first-round matchup. It's the Trailblazers against the Suns, and after that, the Sacramento Kings are at the Delta Center to take on the Jazz. 2 more games still ahead today on NBC, and a long flight for us ahead. We'll be in LA tomorrow for the Rockets and the Lakers, game 1 of that 4-5 matchup. Here's P.J. Brown. Can't hit the straight-on jumper. Thomas goes tumbling out of bounds as they battle for the rebound. And Miami's going to keep it.
You know, Bob, Hardaway can talk all he wants about feeling good. He's not himself. You can just tell he does not have that little bounce in his step that he normally has, and it's very difficult if he can't penetrate.
He shot just 1 for 9. He has 3 assists, 3 turnovers. He does have 4 steals. Kurt Thomas picks up his second.
And you know what? It's a 52-second mark, a halftime, and not in the penalty yet. Really important stat, because that free throw line and shooting a high percentage is what's been good for New York in their series this year in the 3 games that counted.
Rather than risk another foul on Thomas, Van Gundy yanks him and sends Chris Dudley in for the first time. Morning. Perhaps looking to test Dudley right away. Good defense on him, though, so he has to go to the side for the jumper that's no good for Brown. Last half minute. New York up 17.
Boy, Sprewell wants that ball against Porter.
And he's got it for the jumper over him. This time it's off. Out of bounds to Miami. Sprewell and Porter, of course, familiar with each other from all their years in the Western Conference. And in fact, part of the reason why Pat Riley, a shrewd judge of talent anyway, wanted Terry Porter, who's been one of the real finds of this abbreviated season, is that Porter ran the point for so many years for the Trailblazers and did it very effectively in his prime when the Trailblazers were a prime opponent for Riley's Lakers out west.
Well, he likes his toughness, and he likes the fact also he can slide over and play 2 guard and play with Hardaway and have a great finishing unit out there for Miami. He's always part of that finishing team. Well, Miami needs a basket here, Bob, going in at halftime.
Hardaway. Terry Porter inside the Morning. Last 4 seconds. Marley tries a 3. Overshoots it. Dudley grabs the rebound, and there's the horn. The Knicks shot 21 of 36. That's 58% in the first half. The Heat feeling some heat from their fans here. The boos raining down on them as they head for the locker room, trailing 48-31. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report coming up after these messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by NBC's Sunday movie, The Hunt for the Unicorn Killer.
With Doug Collins, Bob Costas back in Miami, and all the trends as we prepare to look at the first half trends obviously are in favor of New York. A surprising, if not shocking, first 24 minutes.
Their execution was brilliant, and when you look what New York did, Sprewell and Houston, a combined 25 points. When those two guys both scored 20 in the same game, they're undefeated 4-0 this year. The field goal percentage, they did a wonderful job closing out on the Miami shooters. Only 1 of 10 from 3, a major key. Season percent, you see 36%, but bench points, Bob, 17-0. So the difference in the game is really the bench right now. Sprewell coming in, Camby, Child gave them great effort.
We'll hear from Ahmad Rashad, and we'll start the third quarter when we come back after these commercial messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Ahmad Rashad back in Miami, where the Knicks lead the Heat by 17. Jeff Van Gundy, very happy with his team at halftime, says he wants them to try to get more easy points in transition, keep rebounding, and also stay aggressive. Very important. The one player that they're concerned about, if Miami is to get back in this game, is Tim Hardaway. They want him to stay home on Hardaway because they expect him to start hoisting threes. Bob?
Ahmad, thanks a lot. Discounting a game between Baltimore and Philadelphia in 1948, which is virtually the prehistoric era when you talk about the NBA. In the last 50 years, the largest halftime deficit over cutoff game is 18, which has happened a handful of times. The Heat begin this second half down 17, and a whistle right away as Mashburn goes to the hole.
Well, the first 5 minutes, Bob, are going to be critical. And, you know, when I look at Pat Riley over there, I think at halftime, probably with this team, Bob, he was probably trying to instill some confidence in his team. Right now, they're playing like a very shaky team. So probably firm, fair with them, but also trying to instill confidence.
That was foul number 1 on Larry Johnson. Alonzo Mourning finds Hardaway, who's been cold. Not anymore.
And did you see Jeff Van Gundy's reaction? It's a broken play. He knows Hardaway shoots the shot, and he sort of kicked his foot in disgust, like, uh-oh.
Ward, baseline, through a crowd, finds Houston. Short. Rebound to Marley. Hardaway slices in between Ward and Ewing and gets the bounce.
Boy, did P.J. Brown touch that ball? Looked very close. If so, that would have been goaltending. I think they gave the basket to Hardaway. Very close there.
From 17 down to 12 in the space of about a minute. Hardaway with the 3 and then the drive. 2 points in the first half, 5 here in the first minute of the second half, and a New York turnover.
Now Hardaway will shoot a 3 if you don't get to him. He loves it.
Here it is. Ewing is there to take it.
When he feels the momentum, he tries to shoot that big shot.
Houston. Outside to Johnson, who drills a 3 to quiet the crowd.
What a big swing. I think there's going to be some contact off to the ball. They've called a technical foul.
And it's on Kurt Thomas.
He and Marley were wrapped up off the ball, and Kurt Thomas gets the technical. But, Bob, you talk about swings. Hardaway's shot goes. What we have in here as opposed to Johnson, that's a 6-point swing.
Hardaway will shoot the technical. Before this series, Hardaway, measuring his words, it wasn't like he was quoted out of context, referred to the Knicks as thugs.
See in the bottom there, you see Thomas, they're wrapped up, and he sort of jerks Marley. That wasn't much, but, you know, Steve Jaffee, a veteran official, said, you know what, I'm not going to let this get out of control. So any little thing like that, I'm going to call early in this series.
The jumper out of the corner is no good for Marley. And the rebound belongs to Johnson. Marley remains scoreless. Patrick Ewing, his pass deflected, but grabbed by Ward, who gives it back to Patrick, and it won't drop. Miami ball.
Surprised Patrick did not dunk that basketball. He tried to kiss it in off the glass. I was expecting a thunder jam, and he sort of tried to coax it in the basket. That's where you see him being hurt by his feet.
Ewing started with 6 quick points, did spend a long stretch in the first half on the bench, but he's stuck on 6 right now.
When Zoe gets it, no movement. Now watch how they'll collapse when he dribbles. Try to make him force a pass off the dribble.
And there's a New York foul. It's number 3 on Thomas. Thomas has played better of late for New York, but when he was really struggling, and he still only averaged 8 points a game. Noting that he once led the nation in scoring, one New York Wag said, "Which nation?"
Well, Kurt Thomas, as an NBA player, is not going to give you those big numbers. They want him to give the kind of toughness that they got from Charles Oakley. But what he does is he can play the power players and allow Ewing to play a Brown and roam and block some shots off the ball, save a little energy.
Brown screening for Hardaway, then gets it back into the corner from Mashburn, who misses the three, and Ewing grabs it.
Their shooting is woeful. They're getting open shots.
Marley on Houston. Ewing guarded by Brown. Missing the jumper. Mourning alone for the rebound. Miami down by 14. Mourning backing in on Johnson. Now the turnaround. Alonzo Mourning with 18. Timeout, New York. 8:41 to play in the third. Up by 17 at the half. New York now leads by a dozen.
They got the little switch, the mismatch. Larry Johnson, and Zoe knows it. He just turns, elevates, and knocks it down to cut the lead to 12.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller High Life. There's nothing wrong with being a man. Nothing at all. By Honda, a winning lineup of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans. And by Nike.
Pat Riley passed Bill Fitch, Red Auerbach, and Dick Motta this year on the all-time victory list. Now trails only Lenny Wilkens, who of course is still active with the Atlanta Hawks. Here's how he's done against his old team in 4 seasons as the Heat's head coach. Just 6-6 in the playoffs, 4 under 500 in the regular season. And trailing here by 12 points as New York puts it back in play with 8.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Chris Dudley on the floor now for the Knicks. Houston double team finds Ward. Now Ewing up top and Johnson from the side. Larry Johnson just before the shot clock.
Well, that's 2 big threes he's hit. When Miami made the run 5-0, Hardaway misses a 3. He buries a 3, and then against the clock once again. 6 big points to push it back to 15.
Now New York steals it with Charlie Ward all over Hardaway to deflect the pass. Houston to Johnson, another 3. Not this time, way off. The rebound is taken by Dudley, who sticks it back in.
You got to foul Chris Dudley. He's a very poor free throw shooter. You cannot let him lay the ball in the basket. So Zoe can't take that foul, but one of his teammates must take it.
In fact, for his career, actually the worst free throw shooter in NBA history. Speaking of Dudley. And they've reestablished the halftime margin at 17. Mourning makes it 15. He scored 20.
See, we talked to Jeff Van Gundy yesterday. He felt they could win if Zoe throws up a big game, if they keep everybody else involved, and that's what's happened today. Zoe needs help.
Nice pass from Ward to Houston. Houston with 14. He's hit 7 of 8 from the floor. Mourning in traffic and foul.
This has sort of been New York. Watch this now. We're going to be able to put this across. And here's Larry Johnson over here. Now watch, the ball swings. 1 pass, rotation, 2 pass, 3 pass, and LJ. That's sort of been the story for New York. The crisp ball movement, the passing, and really stretching Miami's defense out.
Foul on Dudley was his first. Mourning at the line. He's been a consistent all-star caliber player, but the last couple of years his playoff performances have been beneath his regular season standard. And even though there's MVP talk, how he does in the postseason is what a lot of people are watching.
There's no question. We talked to Zoe about it, and he's spoken to us about it, and he knows everybody is waiting for him to short circuit in a pressure situation, as he's done in a couple situations, either against a Chicago or a New York. He knows he has to keep his cool, but it's a fine line, Bob, because he's a guy at his best with the fire, with the emotion, with the rage, all under control. It's a fine line he's always walking.
The 2 free throws give him 22 points. Ward is doubled out near midcourt. Johnson to Dudley. Back to Ward. Falling out of bounds is Hardaway, and play is stopped. Chris Dudley picks up the loose ball foul, his second.
This is why Zoe led the league in block shots. He comes over and gives help, erases a mistake by a perimeter player. Timmy Hardaway got beat on the back cut, then the loose ball that we talked about. But Bob, Mashburn, Marley, Hardaway, these guys have got to start making some shots, because Zoe's not going to be able to throw up a 45-point game. That's what they're going to need right now for him to win if these other guys don't start making some shots.
Almost half of the third period gone by, and they've only sliced 2 points off the lead. P.J. Brown. Hardaway. Mourning. 4 seconds to shoot. Mourning against Dudley. Got to get it up there. Mashburn beats the clock and misses. Ewing. Since scoring the first 2 New York baskets, he's 1 for 8. Mashburn just trying to get rid of it as he's trapped along the baseline, and now the officials are discussing what the call should be.
Do you sense some urgency coming out with Miami now? They're getting anxious. You see that play by Mashburn, really no place for him to go. And New York's defense right now has done a great job of Zoe keeping him out of the middle, forcing him on the baseline, forcing him to give the ball up. Just nothing is easy right now for Miami. Without their three-point shooting, it's painful for them to try to score today.
Possession goes to Miami. No foul on the play. Mourning has been just about all Miami has today. Dudley fouled him. Let's see if they give him the continuation. No basket. No basket. Foul on Dudley, his third before the shot.
Finally, one team gets in the penalty. No team got in the penalty in the first half. Either side. Now, the penalty situation, Miami shooting free throws, the last 5:24. Can they take advantage of this?
With Mourning at the line, back to the MVP question. And none of this is to diminish Mourning's standing in that regard. But shouldn't the MVP be awarded after the playoffs? Now, obviously, you have a finals MVP. But in basketball and in hockey, the real season is the playoffs. I can see it in baseball or in football awarding it solely on the basis of regular season. But shouldn't, with the regular season counting as part, shouldn't the playoffs be part of the consideration?
Well, Bob, I think if you're going to give 2 awards, I don't think that can happen. But if you're going to just give 1, if you're just going to say we're going to give an MVP, then you might diminish also what somebody did for a team that wasn't able to get deep into the playoffs or something. So I understand what you're saying, but I think if they're going to be a regular season, that has to be done, and then the playoff, your playoff MVP.
Well, I can see a regular season which would encompass an MVP that would encompass the regular season and the playoffs, and then a separate finals MVP.
Now, I would live with that. I agree with that.
Meanwhile, back to the issue at hand. Houston had it knocked away, recovers. Ward fires a 3. Overshot it. Rebound back tap by Dudley into the hands of Johnson. Nice hustling play by Dudley.
New 24-second clock.
Houston. And Marley comes away with it. And might get a technical as he pounds the ball into the floor. The foul is called on Kurt Thomas, which is his 4th. And coming up on NBC.
A train carrying a deadly cargo.
He's gonna die if he doesn't get help.
The heroes who fought to save the city. Daddy. Atomic Train, NBC next Sunday.
Thomas sits down after his 4th foul. Marley to the line. Misses the first. And the deficit remains 13 for Miami.
Now, Dan Marley's got a broken little pinky finger on his right hand, which affects his shooting. He's also suffered with back spasms, and he's really lost that offensive thrust. He's become what Pat Riley talks of a ball mover, a guy who moves as a basketball, gets us some easy shots. But they've got to take advantage of these free throws, Bob. They've gotten to the penalty here, and New York cannot commit silly fouls now.
1 of 2 for Marley, and the lead is 12. Larry Johnson turns to face the bucket. P.J. Brown on him. Into the paint. Now the fadeaway. Misses. Ewing. Blocked by Mourning. Loose ball scrambled for. Sprewell pops a 3. And finally, it's in Marley's hands. They can get it down to 10 here, or 9 if they hit a 3. It'll be Hardaway.
That one shot has just not been there for Miami, Bob. That momentum that you need. Hardaway's missed 2 of them now.
And Marley kicks that one almost out of the arena. Last time a ball was kicked like that in Miami, it was by Garo Yepremian. Looking at Ewing, he's 1 for 9, by the way, since a 2 for 2 start.
Patrick Ewing was thinking it was goaltending. That ball was on the way up. That's a good non-call. Good block.
Charlie Ward with daylight. Misses the 3. The biggest shot of Charlie Ward's life was a 3-pointer in this building last year, Game 5, late in the game. As the Knicks, coming out of the 7 seed, upset the 2nd-seeded Heat last year. Looking to grab a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 and up by 12.
3:46 to go in the 3rd quarter. New York up 12, and the defense is getting tighter. You see the interior defense here. New York swarming Mashburn. The drive by Allen Houston and the block shot by Mourning. The block shot by Alonzo Mourning once again. And we know these two teams are built on defense. You see the points allowed, 4th for New York, 2nd for Miami. The opponent's field goal percentage, 2nd and 3rd. And so with this, Bob, they got to find a way to manufacture some points. And again, Miami has got to be able to make some perimeter shots.
We mentioned that it was 29 years ago today that the Knicks won the 1970 NBA title. How much has the league changed for better and worse? That Knicks team, celebrated for its defense, allowed an average of 105 points a game. This game will probably be won by a team in the vicinity of 80. Hardaway, showing some life in the 3rd quarter, makes this a 10-point game. Miami's on a 7-0 run. Sprewell to the floor. And a traveling call.
Composure. Right now, New York must maintain their composure. Hardaway, no double team now. In the 4th quarter, they'll get the ball out of his hands, but now he can back it in. Go to it once again. Let Hardaway, now that he's got a feel, work.
Nice pass from Hardaway to Marley, but it spills off the lip of the rim. Houston on the move and bumped.
Bob, that's 3 times now that Miami has had big shots that would have put this crowd crazy, and they've missed them. Look at this, a point-blank layup by Marley. This would have put it under 10, and it rolls off, and now Houston gets fouled and shoots 2 free throws. So instead of being 8, it could go to 12 in that one little swing.
That makes it 11. Marley's 0 for 5 from the floor.
So when you're playing uphill, you have to make all those kind of shots. You just cannot afford to miss those.
4-point swing. And back to a dozen. It was 17 at the half. 3 minutes now left in the 3rd. Mashburn made a nice move but couldn't finish it. And there was contact as Johnson took the rebound and a Miami foul. It's on Mashburn, his first.
Another missed layup leads to frustration and the foul. Mashburn makes a great play here. He goes to the basket, just shoots it too hard. He's got a point-blank layup and just misses it. And then his frustration, he fouls Larry Johnson.
In these best-of-5s, the margin of error is obviously even less than in a best-of-7. Mourning steps in front of Ewing and picks it off. If Miami loses this, it means they have to win at least once in New York to win the series, and they've not had much success at Madison Square Garden during Riley's tenure. On the shot clock. Hardaway will. What a roll! That almost scraped the ceiling.
That is typical Tim Hardaway. Those are the kind of shots he makes when the game is on the line. What a big, big basket.
8 points in the third after a 2-point first half for Hardaway. And hold on, says Steve Javie. Marley's third coming up.
I don't know if anybody makes tougher shots in the NBA with the clock winding down. Hardaway steps back, he pumps, fakes that ball. I have no idea how it goes in. He couldn't even see the basket.
Charlie Ward swings it to Johnson, fakes his way around Brown, confronted by Mourning, but scores anyway.
Boy, Larry Johnson's been great. And I tell you, he's made some shots, Bob, with that clock winding down that have really stemmed the tide.
12 points for Johnson. He and Mourning, of course, were teammates in Charlotte. They make no secret of their intense dislike for each other. Ewing came over, got a piece, goaltending.
Anytime the ball is out of your hands this long, it's normally going to be goaltending. Watch, he lets it go, and Patrick gets the block shot. But anytime you've got that kind of distance that close to the basket, normally you're going to get the goaltending call.
26 for Mourning, exactly half of Miami's total. Little hop into the lane. It drops, and he comes to the line. His first points since the first quarter.
The proud warrior in Patrick Ewing comes out. He's got Alonzo posted. No double team coverage. He takes it, then he pump fakes. Shot blockers leave their feet. And then Patrick gets the contact and the kind roll. Seems like every time New York has needed a basket, they've come up with a big one today.
Ewing now looks for his 9th point, but this is also important. He has 13 rebounds.
See, you can be a dominant factor, Bob, without throwing up big numbers. You see Hardaway getting a rest so he can be fresh for the fourth quarter. There's a lot of ways to help your team win.
Here's Mashburn with Sprewell on it. Miami down 13. Mashburn blocked by Ewing.
Like blocking shots.
Nice pass from Ward to Houston, but he didn't have the shot. Johnson does.
I've never seen New York play like this, where they're getting key baskets. How many times have we seen Miami miss an easy one and then come back and hit a big one?
Also, a lot of what we've seen from the Knicks is the style they were trying to convert to this year, largely unsuccessfully in the regular season. Mourning misses the turnaround in the lane. Ewing with his 14th rebound. Sprewell thought about a 3, head fakes, now the 2.
They got Patrick Ewing here off the ball with a foul. They're going to count the basket. It'll be 2 free throws. I think Terry Porter will go to the line, but contact off the ball.
That's number 1 on Patrick. Van Gundy has shown Riley a lot of different looks and lineup combinations, and a lot of what we've seen with the Knicks being successful here is a more wide open style, which they were in theory trying to convert to when they got Camby, when they got Sprewell, and they tried to become younger and more athletic.
Well, I think what's happened here today is you've seen great balance. As Porter makes the free throw, New York is going to take a timeout, but not the predictability of Patrick on the low block. He's going to score his points, but give us the rebounding, give us the shot blocking. Let us get out and run a little bit, and Sprewell and Houston have been terrific. The block by Patrick Ewing. He's doing all the little things. No easy baskets for his team. You erase 2, and what does it do? It leads to Allen Houston, the no-looker. Larry Johnson, once again, the 3. There's a 5-point swing right there. And then the defensive rebound by Ewing. He leads it out. The pump fake, the up and under, and Sprewell gives New York a 17-point lead.
how big has Larry Johnson been? 15 points. He's tried 4 3-pointers. He's made 3 of them, more than the entire Miami team. Miami is 2 for 16 on threes. Meanwhile, as play resumes after the timeout, Terry Porter at the line. He made a free throw a moment ago to make it 70-53 New York. At point number 53, the free throw by Porter was the first point Miami has gotten from its bench. Now, we know that Riley plays a short bench, especially in the playoffs, but that's ridiculous.
Well, they've just not been able to make any shots, and really the only guy who's been able to contribute on a consistent basis today is Zoe. But they'll live with Zoe with big numbers. They've already said that.
Miami had some spurts in this third quarter, but essentially New York has held them off. Up 17 at the half, up 16 now. 5 on the shot clock. Ward, a 3. Sprewell touched it last, out of bounds with 3 seconds to play. They've got to sling it up court in a hurry. It's Porter near half court. That's the best shot he can get, and almost made it. The rebounds and the blocks, more important than the points. He's put 9 points in the scorebook. New York has a 16-point lead. Heading for the fourth. We're back after these messages and a word from your local station. This is the NBA on NBC.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other dissemination or use of this telecast, or of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game, without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association, is prohibited.
The last time the Knicks played here during the regular season, they trailed by 16 entering the fourth, and won the game by a basket in regulation. Now the situation is reversed in game 1 of the playoffs. The largest deficit ever overcome entering the fourth quarter in any NBA playoff game is 18. Phoenix did it against Houston 5 years ago. Chris Childs running the point as we start the fourth. Hardaway on it. Here's the pass to Camby from Houston, and as Camby cuts into a pack of white shirts, he's fouled by Mourning, his 4th.
See, that's the slashing that Camby gives you. You've got Allen Houston who's backing down. He gets help, and as soon as the man comes off Camby to help, he slashes right to the basket. And this is what he can give them, Bob. He's a slasher, he's a cutter. He has the ability to finish at the basket. Bob, you talked about the comeback here in the fourth quarter. Miami's 24th worst in the league in terms of the fourth quarter scoring. They only average 22, so they're going to have to almost shut the Knicks out if they keep up that percentage.
Camby connects on 1 of 2. Back to a 17-point lead. Here's Marley. Head fake. Gives it up to Hardaway. Straight on 3. Off the back iron, and Camby takes it. They'll have to convert almost every open opportunity like that if they're to mount a comeback.
See if they go back to Allen Houston again in his matchup with Marley. Let him isolate, either get the shot or create a shot for one of his teammates.
Sprewell with a runner. And Marley takes the rebound flat-footed. Mourning against Johnson and Camby. Lost it. Mashburn grabs it. Knocked away from him and out of bounds, but touched last by the Knicks. Camby on him defensively.
We talk about synergy, though. It's like there's 6 New York players out there playing on 5 right now. Everywhere they turn, somebody from New York pops up and blocks a shot.
Camby led the league in blocks a year ago. Porter misses. That, of course, was when Camby was with the Raptors. Out of bounds to New York. So Porter had a good look at a 3. Hardaway had an open 3. Neither went down.
Question I have to New York, can keep playing like this with Patrick sitting, do you let him rest the whole game so he doesn't put any more strain on that Achilles?
Makes sense unless Miami makes a run.
Absolutely.
Three on the shot clock. It's going to have to be Johnson. And it's short.
See, now what New York doesn't want to do is just come down and do that. Stand until the shot clock goes down and try to get a shot at the buzzer.
Mashburn given a bit of room by Johnson. Now it's Marley. And it spins out. Mourning on the offensive glass. Fouled by Camby. Meanwhile, as Ewing, for understandable reasons, takes some breathers, Mourning has played all but 2 minutes of this game to this point. He's played 36 of the 38 minutes so far. It's not his fault, but his team is down 7.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer sponsor of the NBA. By the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, the new Chevy Silverado. It's the truck. And by Nasonex.
Patrick Ewing has played 29 of the game's 38 minutes and change so far. Yesterday, we talked with Jeff Van Gundy about how much he can reasonably expect to get from Ewing in this series and possibly beyond.
I'm not sure if he can play well throughout the whole series, however long it goes. If he can give us one good game, or maybe not even because of lack of practice time. To me, that's the wild card for us. What he can accomplish in this series. And I don't think he knows, I don't think we know, and we're going to have to play it quarter by quarter, half by half, game by game to monitor whether he can help us win the game or not.
After Camby's third foul and following the timeout, Mourning goes to the line and misses. He has 26 points. If Ewing and the Knicks come in here and take this one, as we mentioned, they force Miami to win at least one of the 2 games in New York. Since Riley became their coach, and this is his 4th season with the Heat, Miami is 4-7 at Madison Square Garden, regular season and playoffs combined. Houston gets into the lane and then loses it as his path to the hoop was blocked.
Sean Leonard's in the game, Bob. You got to give him some shooting.
Here's Weatherspoon. Camby on him. Poked away from behind. Weatherspoon recovers. 6 on the 24. Hardaway over Childs. And a foul. It's on Mourning as they battled for rebound position, and that is his 5th. Their chances are slim to begin with. If he goes, the remaining chance seems to go with him.
Well, I tell you, Jeff Van Gundy's done a terrific job getting his team prepared. As you see Zoe voicing his displeasure to Ronnie Garrettson, but I think he's a very, very underrated coach. When you talk about getting his team ready to play in the playoffs and the adjustments, his team is ready and playing well.
As Mourning goes out, Ewing comes back in. He'll match up for the time being against P.J. Brown. Childs fakes the 3, pops the 2. An 18-point New York lead.
Patrick Ewing is back in the game, even with the 18-point lead.
Terry Porter over Houston. The 3 spins out, and Ewing has yet another rebound, his 15th. Sprewell backing in. The jumper in the lane is good, and the lead is 20.
You can just see the confidence building in New York as this game goes on, Bob. More importantly, what you're seeing is the quickness of Allen Houston and Sprewell has really hurt the perimeter players of Miami. They're breaking them down.
17 now for Sprewell. Remember, Hardaway is hobbling, bad knee. Marley has been battered for it seems like half a decade and somehow plays through clenched teeth. But the athleticism belongs, at least in this situation, to Sprewell and Houston at present.
Well, New York is a more skilled team if Sprewell's playing well as he is today, and Allen Houston. Those guys are skilled players. Miami is a force team. They impose their will upon you, so they don't have a great margin of error when it comes to making plays.
Hardaway gets into the lane, acrobatic attempt, won't drop. Rebound battle won by Witherspoon, and he in turn is fouled. We're waiting to see who it was on. Ewing picked up his second a moment ago.
Bob, what happened is that there was a technical foul on P.J. Brown. The frustration after the play, he cracked Chris Childs. You see Chris Childs sort of holding his nose. Remember now, P.J. got into it with Charlie Ward and flipped him in the one game 2 years ago that sort of set this off, this great rivalry when these two teams start going through their suspensions and all in the playoffs. But P.J. Brown picked up the technical. That's why Allen Houston shot that free throw.
And Camby picked up the personal at the other end.
You see it right there. He came across and hit him in the face.
There is always the possibility that things could boil over when these two teams get together.
Did P.J. Brown just get his second one and get thrown out? I think he might have just gotten thrown out of the game.
He's been tossed. Back-to-back technicals, and his afternoon is over. And practically speaking, the same is true for the Miami Heat, down by 22 with 7:48 remaining.
Now is when New York must maintain their composure. They can't allow Miami to bait them into something that would carry through the series. They're dominating. They're playing the game they want to play. You turn your back, you walk away from any of the things that could change the momentum of this series, Bob. You've just got to keep playing basketball.
First one by Witherspoon, no good. Up next, a Western Conference first-round matchup. It's the Trailblazers and the Suns. That's followed by the Kings and the Jazz from the Delta Center. Two more left today on the first day of the playoffs here on NBC. Witherspoon comes up empty, symbolic of the type of day it's been for Miami in Miami. Mourning back on the floor, playing with 5 fouls. Sprewell, tough hoop.
See, they just own the perimeter right now. But Sean Leonard, with that sore leg that he's had all season, the broken leg, cannot guard him, and neither can Porter guard Allen Houston. They're having their way right now on the perimeter.
19 for Sprewell. New York by 24. Mourning has it squirt out of his hands, and the Knicks take it back.
Go back to Sprewell. Go to Allen Houston. Use some clock.
In a few more minutes, unless Miami makes a furious run, Van Gundy can probably pull Ewing for good. Sprewell on the move.
When you got a hot hand, you go to it, and you tell the other team, we're going to give you this until you stop it. And you know what? Sprewell has not been stopped all day.
The Knicks came into this series firmly believing they could be competitive. In game 1, they have been dominant.
Sprewell is just backing his man down into the low post. This one with the little runner. And this is the Latrell Sprewell that Pat Riley also wanted here in Miami. New York got him, and today he's paying dividends.
Next on NBC, the NBA playoffs continue. The Suns, the Blazers, one of the surprise teams of the year. Pacific Division champion Portland faces high-powered Phoenix. Then later, the Kings, the Jazz. Up-and-coming Sacramento meets the defending Western Conference champs. The race for the rings. Next.
Everybody knows that Jeff Van Gundy's future hinges on how the Knicks do. Maybe not just in this series, but beyond. It's harsh, but it's true. Van Gundy knows it. He accepts it. His father was a high school and small college coach for 40 years. His father, Bill. His brother, Stan Van Gundy, is over on the other bench. He understands what the coaching life is about. Dave Checketts will have to decide. Today doesn't hurt. Here's Porter. Hardaway. The three. Way off.
You know what's been amazing is no good looks from Miami. They just closed out on every shot. They're scrambling. You see Stan Van Gundy. He's gone through it. He was fired at the University of Wisconsin as a coach. And when you go through that, it's a painful experience. He's sort of in a catch-22. He wants to win the series, but at the same time, he'd like for his brother to keep his job.
Childs drills a three. And the Knicks just pour it on. If you've just tuned in, that is not a misprint, nor is this a misstatement. The Knicks by 29. Meanwhile, Hardaway has shot 4 for 18, Marley 0 for 6, and the bench has exactly 2 points, a pair of free throws by Porter for Miami.
Well, you see, Tim Hardaway is done for the day. Rex Walters is in the game. But, you know, Bob, yesterday we spent time with both coaches, and it was, you know, Miami felt the pressure was on them. They're the #1 seed. They're supposed to win. I really saw a confidence in Jeff Van Gundy yesterday that he felt great that his team had a chance to win this series.
Sprewell with the steal, and then Leonard just reached out and grabbed his jersey to pull it back. We mentioned that this is not the typical 1-8 series, especially in the East, because in the 3 years prior to this, the 1 seed was, of course, Jordan and the Bulls. 3 straight sweeps. Last year against New Jersey, the year before against Washington, and in '96 against Miami. 9-0 in the first-round best-of-5 against the 8 seed. Different deal here for Riley and Miami.
Well, I think you see also, too, the difference in the disparity between 1 and 8 in a regular season as opposed to a shortened season. And, you know, Bob, also, too, when you talk about Miami, New York, when you come into this series, everybody's saying, you know what, if New York plays to their ability, they can play much better than they did during the regular season. You couldn't really say that about Miami. Miami's the kind of team that's going to play the same way during the regular season and the playoffs. They're not going to be able to up their level or their effort. They play that way all the time. So you're seeing right now a New York team that is playing much, much better than they did during the regular season. Can they sustain it and win 3 of 5?
Ewing now is done with 15 rebounds, 9 points, and 4 blocks, as Dudley has come in. Meanwhile, as we're into garbage time much earlier than we generally would be, Miami cuts it to 85-57, if cuts it is the right term. It's knocked away by Walters into the hands of Weatherspoon. Porter back at the other end, fouled by Childs. So like Ewing, morning is finished for the afternoon, and Dwayne Coswell, who made the last bucket a moment ago from Miami, veteran out of Temple, a 7-footer who wears number 4, is on the floor.
There's nothing better when you're the road team starting a playoff series to go in and get that first win, because when you lose a game, all you have to read about is all the negative things about how your team played or whatever. Now they're going to be in this city, and Miami is going to get it all poured upon them by their hometown newspapers and media about what New York did to them. The important thing for New York, though, this series is by far from over, Bob. They don't add up the total points during a series. You know, it's who can win 3 out of 5.
You saw Mourning on the bench a moment ago. He had 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. Latrell Sprewell. It rattles in and out, but Sprewell today will play in the first winning playoff game of his NBA career. It's been 5 years since he's seen the playoffs at all. Terry Porter through a crowd to Leonard for the jumper that's good, and the three-pointer comes entirely too late. It's a 24-point lead for New York. It's Leonard's first basket. Houston to the left hand.
Oh, Allen Houston with the pump fake, the 360 spin, the left-handed layup. It's all working.
20 points for number 20. Again, it's Leonard. Again, it's good.
Now, he has shot the ball well in practice, and they need his shooting. The problem is defensively, he hurts them right now because he's not right with those legs. So Pat Riley's going to have to find a way to be able to use him in this series judiciously, but they're going to need him.
Houston over Porter, 22.
Well, now he and Sprewell both have 22 points, and Bob, when they both score 20 in the same game, now they're 5-0. They're undefeated when those two guys get it cooking together.
Deshaun Leonard hits his third consecutive three. And this matters because it gives him confidence and a little bit of rhythm for the subsequent games in the series.
Absolutely, and Latrell Sprewell has got to play this out like, you know, the game is still on the line. Jeff Van Gundy says, we don't want to let these guys get going now.
Childs, head fake into the lane, finds Camby. Clock ticking down toward 3 minutes. Mourning just a spectator now. Leonard again. Not this time. Game 2 will be here on Monday. So only about 48 hours or so for Miami to regroup. And part of that will simply be to endure an interrogation from the Miami media.
Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm in New York coming up after the Knicks and the Heat. Game 2 of our triple header. Phoenix and Portland coming to you from the Rose Garden. The Blazers 3-0 against the Suns this season. The Blazers looking to end a string of 6 straight first-round playoff losses. And the Suns' hopes pinned on Jason Kidd, the NBA assist leader with an amazing 7 triple-doubles this season. The rest of the league combined just had 9. For the Blazers, Rasheed Wallace will get the start today, just his 19th of the season, as Mike Dunleavy tinkers with his lineup. In preparation for Game 1 of that series, it's Phoenix at Portland coming up next.
Bob, that should be a terrific series. Jason Kidd having an MVP-type season, and if their big guys can shoot the ball well, Gugliotta, Cliff Robinson, Manning, they could give Portland trouble. Portland needs to get that confidence back that they were playing with early in the season.
Rick Brunson in for the first time, and so too is Herb Williams at age 41. The veteran center, veteran is an understatement, out of Ohio State. Dudley misses the little jumper, but the tip falls for Marcus Camby, who scored 9. Brunson guarding Walters. Brunson had a good game on Wednesday night against Miami as each team used its reserves liberally. Here's Dwayne Coswell. Doesn't drop, but he'll come to the line. Mark Strickland is also on the floor for the first time in this game for Pat Riley's Heat. He wears number 5, and he also wears a face guard over his broken nose. He caught a Dikembe Mutombo elbow in the last week of the regular season. That gave Mutombo a strange sort of hat trick. It was the 3rd opponent's nose he had broken this season. The Nets, Jason Williams, and the Celtics, Vitaly Potapenko, and then finally Strickland.
They say Dikembe's awkward. I think sometimes he knows where those elbows are going. You get in that post with him, you better watch out.
Coswell can't hit either one. Brunson comes back around Walters to the basket, tries the reverse, ball knocked away. And we move inside 2 minutes, which is the best news possible for Miami at this stage. Strickland was going for the dunk, and he was fouled. If you're Riley, look at the expression on Mashburn's face. If you're Riley, what do you say to your team?
That's tough because they were thoroughly handled today, and what he's got to be able to do now. But remember, he's been through this before in the finals. Remember when he was with the Lakers and they went into Boston Garden and got beat by about, what, 35 or 40, and they came back. Now the difference is he had Magic Johnson and Jabbar. He doesn't have that kind of talent, and New York is playing very, very well right now. Great confidence, and they love this matchup. So he's going to have to try to instill some confidence, but this is a shaken team right now.
This Miami team, seeded #1 in the East, is probably not as good as the team that won 61 a couple of years ago. But that team had Michael Jordan and the Bulls in its way, as did the rest of the NBA. So in a very real sense, this might be Riley's best chance this year. He told us yesterday, and it's no secret, that he and just about everybody else views it as more wide open, especially the Eastern teams. More of a realistic chance to make the finals now than ever before. But this is not a good way to start for Riley.
Well, you see all the guys shaking their head over there, Alonzo and Mashburn and Tim Hardaway. But, like, to me, it's going to be a major uphill battle if Tim Hardaway's leg is not any better than it was today. I thought he really struggled. As we see the brackets, great series there, Detroit and Atlanta. That starts tonight. Some good matchups. I think the team that got the real break in the first round was Indiana. Gets sort of a beat-up Milwaukee team, and they have to take care of business quick in that series.
Without diminishing what George Karl and the Bucks accomplished this year in a turnaround season, that's really, of those 4 Eastern matchups, that's really the only one that doesn't look like it could be a truly competitive 5-game series, and wherein it's hard to imagine the underdog winning. Only Indiana appears to be a prohibitive favorite of those 4 matchups.
I would agree that, especially with the injuries. Glenn Robinson is not 100%. They've lost Vinny Del Negro, Del Curry out with some back spasms. He's not 100%, and they're a team that depends on that 3-point shooting.
Weatherspoon connects. A minute to play. New York by 20.
Bob, let's watch how New York leaves the floor today. I think it's a real sign of what kind of team and maturity you have. Do they walk off the floor like they feel like they expected to win and make no big deal about it? I don't think you're going to see any celebration. I think Larry Johnson has talked to the guys like, we did our job, let's get off the floor. Let's watch how they leave today. I always thought that that's a telltale sign of a series.
Well, this will be the 3rd straight time they've beaten Miami, even if you discount the last night of the regular season. They have every reason to be confident against the Heat. Leonard missed. Strickland gets credit for the tip with 17 seconds to play. 2 years ago, the Knicks were up 3-1 before losing in 7, and part of the reason was the suspensions that came after the fight. Last year, they beat the Heat, although the Heat was a much higher seed, in 5. This year, they split 4 regular season games and win game 1 of the playoffs. Why shouldn't they feel confident against Miami?
You're absolutely right. It's the matchup they wanted, and today, they were the dominant team.
We'll put Ahmad to work on an interview when we come back to Miami right after this. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Back in Miami, and here's Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Bob. So you guys struggle towards the end of the season trying to get into these playoffs, but come out today playing like you really belong here, Patrick.
Yeah, we feel that we do belong here. We had a up and down year. I know I did. I've been hurt pretty much the entire year. But, you know, I still believe in this team. I still believe in these guys. And we feel that we belong in. You know, like I said, when I did all my interviews with you guys, I see no one in this playoff that I fear.
Larry, I noticed that towards the end of the game, you guys leading very big, but you were the calming influence on this team, coming out telling me you guys really expected to win this game.
Well, I think our confidence was extremely high, not because we was overconfident that we can beat this team. It's because we do believe in ourselves, Ahmad. Like Patrick said, it's been an up and down year. We've only had 2 days to prepare. And, you know, I think the coaching staff did an excellent job of getting us in the right frame of mind of coming out here, not only this series against Miami, but this whole playoff of getting us right and ready to play every night.
All right, congratulations, you guys. The home court advantage has now changed. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Bob.
Ahmad, thanks a lot. A couple of quick notes before we leave the air here. Doug, you wanted to watch how the Knicks left the floor. The way I saw it, about as matter-of-factly as possible. The kind of business we expected to do. In the last 2 playoff series, the last 2 years between these teams, the Game 1 winner did not win the series, for whatever that may be worth. Today's final, New York 95, Miami 75. For Doug and Ahmad, I'm Bob Costas. Now stay tuned for Game 2 of our NBA on NBC playoff tripleheader, the Suns and the Trailblazers.